Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is T of the FTK Crochet brand and I am back with another tutorial. Today we are going to be making the tutorial for this beautiful looking top. It is a step-by-step detailed tutorial, so it is beginner friendly. If you are new to crochet, this is something you can actually make for yourself or for your loved one. So I used the double crochet and the single crochet stitch to create this beauty. All right, but before we go into today's tutorial, you need to subscribe to my channel. You don't want to be missing out on all these beautiful tutorials that I post on here. All right, so without further ado, let us get into today's tutorial. Okay, so for this project, these are the materials that you are going to need. You are going to need your yarn, of course. So this yarn that I'm going to be using today happens to be a 2-ply acrylic yarn. So it is too tiny for me, so I'm going to be putting in 2 strands of the yarns together to make it 4-ply acrylic yarn. So that's what I call it, a 4-ply acrylic yarn. But you can go ahead to use whatever yarn you feel comfortable working with. It can be a cotton yarn or an acrylic yarn, 3 or 4-ply or 5-ply. It's your choice, whatever you feel comfortable using. All right, so I'm going to be using this off-white color, the cream color, and the nude color on this particular project. All right, so you are going to need your scissors, a measurement tape, very important, some stitch markers, a darning needle to weave in your ends when you are done. And on this one, I'll be working with a 4mm hook size. All right, so let us get into it. Okay, so the measurement you're going to need for this one is going to be your bust measurement plus 2 inches. Okay, so the reason why I say plus 2 inches because we want the top to be a little loose. That is when the beauty of this particular top is going to come out on you. All right, so whatever you get on your bust plus 2 inches. So my bust is between 38 and 39. So I'm just going to go with 39. So I'm going to be adding 2 inches to my own. So I'm going to be making a chain now of 41 inches. All right. So you make a slip knot and make your foundation chain. So like I said, my foundation chain is going to be 41 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you go ahead to make your foundation chain. When I'm done with mine, I'll come back to tell you how many chains I end up doing and what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with my chains and I ended up making 165 chains. Okay, so now to begin the row 1, you are going to hold down this very last chain stitch you have here and then chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so now you are going to yarn over and count back these 4 stitches, and where your hand is now, which is the 5th stitch, you are going to be doing a double crochet inside that stitch to create your very first mesh right here. Okay, so now in the next 4 stitches, you are going to be putting in 1 double crochet on each of those stitches to make it 5. All right, so that's 2, this is 3, 4, and 5. And now you are going to chain up 1, skip 1 chain stitch, and on the next, you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. And then on the next 4 stitches again, you are going to go in with 1 double crochet on each of the stitches, making it 5. So the pattern is that simple. You put in 5 double crochet on 5 stitches, then chain up 1, skip 1, and then 5 double crochets again, chain up 1, skip 1, and then 5 double crochets again. That is what you are going to be doing for this entire row. Okay, until you get to the very end here. And when I get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing for the row 2. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1, and this is how we are looking. So as you can see, I ended up putting in a mesh stitch here because we begin with a mesh stitch. Okay, so now to begin the row 2, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right, so you are going to be skipping this space and you are going to do a double crochet on the previous double crochet stitch to create our first mesh right here. Okay, so you remember we did 5 double crochets in a row before we get to the next mesh. You are just going to be following that particular footstep. So this is 4 and this is 5. So this pattern is very simple. This is just what you are going to be following. Okay, then you're going to chain up 1, skip the space, and continue doing the double crochet again till you get 5. All right, so this is just the repetition for the entire length. Okay, so every row, this is what you are going to be following. So if you want to change colors, you can go ahead to change your colors, but just make sure you are following the same thing. Okay, so in the beginning, you are going to chain up 3. You are just going to put in 5 double crochets. And when you get to where the chain 1 is, you chain up 1, skip the space, and you continue putting in 5, just like that. Keep counting your stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera now to do mine, and when I get to the end here, I'll come back to show you how we are going to begin the row 3. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 2 now. So as you can see, I have just one space left after putting in the 5 double crochet. Okay, so to end on this row, all you need to do is chain up 1 and then skip 1 stitch, and on the second chain stitch right here, you do the very last double crochet to create the last mesh, just like this. All right, so now to begin the row 3, you're just going to chain up 3 and 3. So you are going to skip this space as usual and just keep putting in 5 double crochets on the 5 stitches. Then when you get to where the mesh space is again, you chain up 1 and you skip the space and do the double crochet and just keep putting in 5 again, just like I explained on the row 2. Okay, so now that we're on the space again, you're going to chain up 1, skip the space, and just keep putting in 5 double crochet. Then when you get to the space again, just like that. All right, so that is what you continue doing until you get to the length you want your top to be on. Okay, so the 2 measurements we need for this is just your bust measurement and the length that you want your top to be on. So this pattern now is what you are going to follow until you get the length that you want. So I'm going off camera now to create mine, and I'll be right back to tell you what we are going to do next. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with my rows and I've gotten the length that I want. All right, so for my own, I ended up putting 5 of the cream, 2 of this, 1 cream, 2 of this, 1 cream, 2 of this, and 5 of this. So altogether, I made 18 rows, and this 18 rows gave me exactly 10 inches. So I think I'm good with my inches now. All right, so the next step now is going to be working where we need to put our buttons. Okay, so it's just going to be single crochet all across. All right, so as you can see, I didn't cut off the yarn that I used for the body of the top. So all I just need to do now is chain up 1 and walk across this part, because we are going to be putting in 4 rows of single crochets on the edges. Okay, so to begin that now, you are going to chain up 1. All right, so just continue with the yarn that you've been using to work before. All right, so on this space now, you are going to be going in there with 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And on the next space, you're just going to be going in there with 2 single crochets. So it's easy. Each of the spaces, you're just going to be putting in 2 single crochets on each of the spaces, all across down to the end here. And then you chain up 1, come back here again until you have 4 rows of single crochet. So I'm going off camera now to do my own 4 rows of single crochet, and I'll come back to tell you what we are going to be doing on this part. Okay. Okay, so I'm done creating the 4 rows of single crochet right here, and this is how it's looking. So now the next step, we are going to be creating exactly the same thing here, but this time around we are going to be making the buttonholes on this part as well. All right, so it's going to be 4 rows, all right, but in between the 4 rows we are going to be making the buttonholes on the third row. Okay, so you first of all go ahead now to do 2 rows of the single crochet normally like we did here. So you remember what I told you to do here. So put your first 2 rows of single crochets right here, and I'll be back on the third row to show you how we are going to be doing the buttonhole. Okay, so I'm done with my 2 rows of single crochet, and like I told you, the third row of the single crochet now is where we are going to be putting our buttonholes. Okay, so as you can see, I've put in the stitch markers where I want my buttonholes to be on. All right, so I will end up putting just 4 buttons, and this is the size of button that I'm working with. It's actually 1.5 centimeter, I think, because you guys always ask me the size of the button. So I decided to measure this one for you today. 1.5 centimeter. Okay, so this is what I'm going for. All right, so for this one now, I'm going to be making 2 chains. That is what we contain this particular one. All right, so now to begin, what you just need to do is put your stitch markers where you want your buttons to be. Okay, so you will know where to leave as your holes. All right, so me, what I did when I measured mine, I counted 9 stitches in between. 9 stitches in between. Okay, so now let's begin. So to begin the third row of the single crochet now, you are going to chain up 1 as usual, and then turn your work to the other side. All right, so on this very first stitch now, you are going to be going in there with just 1 single crochet. Okay, so now you are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and then you are going to skip 2 stitches, and on the third stitch you are going to be going in there with just 1 single crochet. So this is how you create your very first buttonhole. Okay, so now this is 1, you keep putting in single crochets on each of the stitches until you get to where your stitch marker is. And like I told you, my count is actually 9 before getting to my next stitch marker. All right, make sure you mark it out, because exactly what you do here is what you have to do on the other side, so the buttons will go into the parts where you make the holes. All right, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So as you can see, on my 9th stitch I'm going to be putting in my last stitch right there, and then chain up 2, 1 and 2, and skip 2 stitches, and on the third I'm going to be going in there with just 1 single crochet. All right, so I just did 2 holes now. All right, so you continue doing this, continue putting in your buttonholes, and I will meet you at the end here. Okay, okay, so I'm done making my buttonholes, and this is how it's looking. So like I told you, I'm going to be putting in 4 buttons, so I have my 4 buttonholes now. All right, but now we are going to be putting in our last single crochet. You remember we put in 4 single crochet on this side, so now we are going to be putting in our last single crochet row on this part. Okay, so to begin that, now you're going to chain up 1 and then turn your work to the other side. All right, so on this first stitch now, you are going to be going in there with just 1 single crochet, and then on the buttonholes, which is, you know, we chained up 2, you are going to be putting in 2 single crochet on that space. All right, and then just continue putting in 1 single crochet on each of the stitches until you get to the next space, and then you are going to put in 2 single crochet on that space. But like I told you, my button size, that's why I had to go for the chain 2. If your button is smaller, you can make just 1 chain instead of 2. But if your button is even bigger than mine, you can go with 3 chains. So it's exactly what will size your button. That is the chain that you're going to make. All right, so you keep doing your single crochet until you get to the end, and I'll come back to tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done putting in the last row of single crochet, and as you can see, it enhanced the buttonhole. You see how beautiful this looks. All right, so now I'm going to cut off this yarn because the next step now is going to be fixing the button on the other parts. All right, so when you fix your buttons now, make sure it is exactly where the holes are. All right, so this is how my own buttons are going to come out, just like this. So this is it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now to fix my own button. This is the needle I'm going to be using because that's the one that we go through the button holes because it's very tiny. So all you just need to do is get a strand from the yarn that you have been using, or you can decide to just use a normal thread instead of using a yarn. Okay, is depending on you, but make sure it's the same color so that when you fix it, it rhymes with your work. Okay, so I'm done fixing the buttons and this is how it's looking. Let me button it so you can see the beauty come out on our top. All right, so this is how it looks when it's all buttoned up. All right, so now the next step is going to be working on the hand area. So I've gone ahead to do the first one. So I'm going to be showing you how to do it with this second one. All right, so to begin on that one, it's very easy. You see the pattern I followed on this part, that is exactly what I'm going to be doing here. But on this one, on the hand area, we're just going to be working 2 of the 5, the blocks that we did. We're just going to be picking out 2. Okay, so you go ahead now to measure your neck. So I ended up taking out 8 inches for my own. So from here to here where I will be starting the other one is exactly 8 inches. Okay, so it will be easier for you to count. So what I just did is I counted 1, 2 of the blocks and I started on the third block, 1, 2 on this block, and I'm going to be starting on this third block here. All right, so with my own color pattern, if you see that, you see I did 5 of the cream, 2 of this, 1 of this, just like that. Then now I have 5 cream, so I had to start here with the nude color. So now to start on this part, I'm going to be starting with the nude color. All right, so it's exactly how I played with this color here. That is exactly how I'm going to be playing with the hand color as well. All right, so after 5 cream, I'm going to be starting with the nude color and I'm going to be doing 2 rows of this nude color. All right, so what you are going to be doing now, you are going to insert your yarn on the very first stitch after counting up the 2. So as you can see from where the button is, I counted 2 of the 5 blocks and I started on number 3 block. So 1, 2, and I'm starting on the very first stitch right here now. Okay, so you reattach your yarn there and you're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. So this 3 is going to be standing as our first double crochet. All right, so on the next stitch you're going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, and on the next stitch 1 double crochet. So what you are doing here now, you are going to be following exactly the pattern. Okay, but this time around you are not going all the way down, you're just doing 2 of the blocks. So chain up 1. After putting in 5, skip the space and go in with the double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now this is our row 1. All right, to begin the row 2, you're just going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, then turn your work to the other side. So like I told you, I'm going to be doing 2 of this nude color. So don't forget this chain 3 is serving as our first double crochet. So on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with 1 double crochet and make sure the stitches here is exactly 5 before you get to the space. All right. Okay, then chain up 1, skip the space and do your 5 double crochet again, and then chain up 3, turn your work to the other side. But this time around, like I told you, I'm going to be switching to the other color of yarn because I'm going to be doing just 2 of the nude color. All right, so this is my 5th stitch now. Just like this. So I'm going to chain up 1, cut off this yarn, and then tie it. So I'm going to be coming back with my nude color. All right, so if you are changing colors just like what I'm doing now, this is what you're going to do. So now we have our 2 nude colors. So now you're going to turn your work to the other side, and you're going to reattach your new yarn now on the very first stitch here, and then chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and this chain 3 is serving as 1 double crochet for us, don't forget. And now on the next stitch you are just going to continue exactly the same thing. So for the length of this hand part now, this is exactly what you are going to be doing. All right, so what you are going to be doing as you go, as you keep making your rows, keep putting it on your body or the person you are making it for, to make sure that it is long enough or short enough for you to stop. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera now to create my second rows, and I'll come back to tell you how many I end up doing and what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done creating the hand, and this is how it's looking. So like I told you, I ended up doing exactly the pattern I did for the body of the top. That is exactly what I did here too. Okay, so 5 2 1 2 1 2, 5 2 1 2 1 2, then 5. I had to go to the other part again, which is the back part, and I did exactly the same thing, 2 1 2 1 2. But I advise you actually take your own measurement so you get the exact rows that will go through your hand, just like this. Okay, so now to join both sides together, you are going to be leaving a very long tail when you finish the last row. All right, because that is what you are going to be sewing it together with, because you are using the tapestry needle. So put in a strand of yarn in your tapestry needle. That is in case you don't have a long tail coming from your own. All right, and do the sewing. Make sure the 2 sides are straight and put it together just like this. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? So you are going to go into the very first stitch here. That happens to be the chain 3 stitch on this side. You put your needle through the bottom and then drag it out. Okay, there is a tie here, so it's holding it back. Okay, so on the other parts now, you are going to go into the very first stitch there as well. Take it from the bottom, just like that, and come back to this stitch again. On the next stitch, you take it through the bottom and go back here again and take it through the bottom. Go to the next stitch on the next part, just like this. All right, so you keep sewing yours together. All right, and make sure you're taking the stitches from the bottom, just like this when you join. Okay, so do this to the very end, and when I'm done with mine, I'll come back to show you and tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done sewing mine together, and as you can see, like I promised you, like I told you, I did the exact pattern. So 5 2 1 2 1 2, then 5. So as you can see on the end as well, I did 5 because we have 5 at the end of the body here. So I had to start with the nude, like I told you, 2 1 2 1 2, then 5 on this part. Then I went to the other side and I did 2 1 2 1 2, then 5 on this part as well, before sewing the shoulders together. So this is what I did for both the hand. Okay, so the next step now, we are going to be doing 2 rows of single crochet on this part of the hand. So I've already done this one, so I was easy to show you. So now we are going to be doing exactly the same thing here now. 2 rows of single crochet on the hand area. All right, so to begin that, I'm going to be using the nude color. So you are going to be reattaching your yarn on the underarm parts. Okay, here you can just pick anywhere around there to reattach your yarn. All right, so I'm just going to start mine from here. Okay, and now you're going to chain up one. On that very stitch, you're going to be going in there with just one single crochet. So each of the stitches all around is going to be getting one single crochet on these parts. All right, but we are going to be doing decreases on the parts where the hand starts from. So just keep putting in one single crochet on each of the stitches until we get to that point. And I'll show you how you're going to do the decrease here. All right. So as you can see now, we have just one stitch left here before we get into the hand area. All right. So this is where you're going to be doing the decrease. So you see this space now. You know, we chained one here in the space, so you're going to be going into that space. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? Go into the space, do your single crochet, but don't finish it. Now that you have two on your hook, go into this space here on the hand area where we begin from, okay? Go into that space and then pull out a loop. Now that you have three on your hook, yarn over and pull out all three loops. So you just did your first decrease on that part. Okay, so on this same space now where you did the first decrease, you are going to be going in there with one more single crochet, just like this. Because for the hand area now, each of the spaces, you are going to be putting in two single crochets. So on this space, we get two single crochets. On the next space, you are going to be putting in two single crochets, just like this. Okay, so you keep putting in two single crochets on each of the spaces as you go. All right, and then when you get to these other points again, you do exactly the same thing here. You do the decrease just like we did here. You are going to be doing it on the other parts of the hand area where it begin from here, and then continue putting in your single crochet until you get to this point where we started from. So when you get here, when I get here, I'll come back to tell you how we are going to begin the row 2. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. So to end on this row, you are going to be doing a slip stitch on the very first stitch that you started with right here. All right, so now to begin the row 2, you are going to chain up 1, and on this same stitch, you are going to be going in there with just one single crochet, and on the next stitch, you're going to be going in with one single crochet. So you keep putting in one single crochet on each of the stitches until you get to the spot where you did the first decrease, because we are going to be doing another decrease on the row 2. All right, so we are doing those decreases so the hand will be firm on the body of the top. All right. All right, so here we are again. So this is the place where we did the first decrease. This is the stitch. So to begin to do the next decrease, now you're going to be going into that stitch and then pull out a loop. Now that you have 2 on your hook, go into the very next stitch and pull out a loop. Now that you have 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull out all 3 loops. So you just did your second decrease on this part. Okay, so you keep putting in one single crochet on each of the stitches, just like this, until you get to the other point here again where you did the first decrease on this part. So you are going to be doing a decrease here as well. Okay, and then continue putting in your single crochet until you get to the place where we started from here. So when I get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 2 now. So to end on this row, you're just going to do a slip stitch on the very first stitch where we started from, right here. And then chain up 1 and then cut off this yarn and tie. All right, so we are done with the hand, just like this. So now the next step, we are going to be working on the inner hand, which is the chest area. Okay, so to begin that, you are going to remove the buttons right here, because now we are going to be doing one row of single crochet from the very bottom here, which is this part, the front part here. We are going to do one single crochet all around down to the back here and down to these parts here. All right, so for the first row of the single crochet, we are going to be doing the normal decrease that we did on this part here. Okay, we are going to be doing a decrease here as well. Okay, we are going to do it point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4. Okay, but to begin, excuse me, you are going to reattach your yarn on the very first stitch right here. So this time around, I'm going to be using my nude color. So if you are using your different colors, just know where you want to put each color. So like I told you, I'm playing with the nude and the cream color. So I'm using the nude color to do this row of single crochet. Okay, so now you're going to chain up 1. And on that same stitch, you're going to be going in there with just 1 single crochet. And on the next stitch, you're going to go in there with 1 single crochet. So just keep putting in 1 single crochet on each of the stitches like I told you, okay, until you get to the point where you need to do your decrease. Okay, so don't forget the decrease points. So we do it in all the places that the hand starts and finishes. So those are the points. Those are the points you do your decrease. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the single crochet row. So this is how it's looking. So as you can see, we now have the nude color all around. So we're now at the bottom. So for this part, we are okay with this part, but we are going to come back to this chest area to do another single crochet. But I don't want to cut off this yarn from here because I want to work on the bottom parts. So when we are done working the bottom part, we have to come back to do another row on the chest area. All right, so now let's begin the bottom part. For the bottom part, we are going to be doing front posts and back posts double crochet. Okay, so like I told you, I don't want to cut off the yarn here. That's why we're working on the bottom parts first. All right, so to begin that one, you are going to chain up 2. So as you can see, I already put my last single crochet here to end on this row. So now we are going to begin with a double crochet. All right, so now chain up 2, 1 and 2, and on that same stitch, you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, just like this. Okay, so on the very next stitch, you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. And on the very next, you're going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. And on the next, you're going to go in there with a double crochet. So for this particular row, you're just going to be going into each of the stitches with 1 double crochet. All right, you are going to be doing it all around, and I will meet you here to show you how we are going to begin the row 2. Okay? Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1. So to begin the row 2, you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, and then turn your work to the other side. All right, so now this chain 3 is going to be serving as our first double crochet. All right, so the next stitch now, you are going to be doing a front post double crochet, just like this. And the next stitch, you're going to be doing a back post double crochet. And next is going to be a front post double crochet. And the next stitch gets a back post double crochet. And the next gets a front post double crochet. So for this row, you are just going to be doing the front post and the back post double crochet. All right, until you get to the very end of this row. And when I get to the end of the row, I'll come back to tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 2 now, and this is how it's looking. So now to begin the row 3, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you turn your work to the other side. So this happened to be the last row for the bottom. Okay, so we are still going to be doing the front post and the back post, but this time around on this side of the top now, we are going to be doing the back post where the back post is and the front post where the front post is. Okay, so just watch what I'm doing clearly. So as you can see now, the first stitch right here happens to be the back post. So now we are going to be doing a back post on the previous back post double crochet. So that is where we are going to be doing our double crochet. And the place that has the front post, you are going to be going in there with the front posts. So the previous back post gets a back post just like this, and the previous front post gets a front post double crochet just like this. All right, so keep doing this. The previous back post gets a back post double crochet, then the previous front post gets a front post double crochet. So this is the pattern you are going to be following for this row until you get to the very end. All right, so I'm going off camera now to do mine, and when I'm at the end here, I'll come back to tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 3 now, and this happens to be our very last row. So all I need to do now is to cut off the yarn from here and then tie. So we are done with the bottom. All right, so the last bits now, you remember I told you we are going to be doing one more row of single crochet on the chest area, just like we did on this side of the hand. So it will be equal. So now we are just going to do exactly that, and we'll be done with our top. So you already have an idea of how you are going to do it. All right, so it's exactly what we did in the row 1. That's what you are going to be doing in the row 2. So in all the points, you are going to be doing a decrease, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. You are going to be doing a decrease on all those points. All right. Okay, so I'm done putting in my rows on the chest area. So, you know, I told you I was going to put just one more row to make it 2 rows. After doing that, I realized I want it a little bit tighter on the neck part. So I decided to add 3 more rows. So apart from the 2 rows that I did here, I added 3 more rows to it. But this time around, I didn't do it to this very end part here because I don't want the space to go higher. So what I did, I counted this part out. You know, the single crochet parts that we put here, I counted it out, and that gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So on the 6th stitch is where I started the next 3 rows of single crochet. All right, so every time I get to this part, I do a decrease as well. So that is what gave me this V kind of shape right here. And on the 3 rows, don't forget, I always do the decrease on all of the points. Like I told you, for the first 2 rows, you remember the decrease points I told you. Point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4. So I made sure I did the decreases on all of it. So in total for this chest area, I did 5 rows of single crochet. All right, 2 to this part, and then 3 from the 6th stitch. All right, and I also added 2 more rows on the hand area. I just want the bulkiness here to actually appear here as well, since they are going to be on the hand. All right, so the hand now got 4 rows of single crochet in total, and the chest part got 5 in total. So that is what gave us this look that you're seeing. So as you can see now, the contrast I'm trying to make, you see this design here, this 2 nude color on this part, it actually came out here as well. So you see, it's making more sense. I told you I just like to play with my colors. That is why I do all this. All right. So far, this is how the entire thing is looking. Let me show you the back. So you see the back. So pretty. So this is how it is. If you know you want to make it tighter on you, you don't have to add that extra 2 inches I told you to add. You can actually make it tighter if you like, but I just want it to be free on my body. That's why you see it's this free. All right. I like it like this, but like I told you, I always like to give you the basics and you use your own measurements to create what you like to see on your body. Okay, so with this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I did creating this video. If you do, make sure to like the video and send it to your friends and your family who wants to make something as beautiful as this. All right, and if you've not subscribed to my channel before, I don't know what you're waiting for. Don't you think you're missing too much not subscribed to this channel? So I'll give you a minute now to actually click on that subscription bell below so you do not miss out on any of the beautiful tutorials that I post on here. All right, and if you have any questions about this project, feel free to drop it on the comment section and I will be happy to help. All right, so until next time, bye bye.